Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Healing the Ummah. In today's episode, let's discuss total Tazkiya, holistic healing. So before we dive into this, nothing within this is intended to be medical diagnosis or advice in any manner, any shape or form. I'm just going to share from my actual experience. I've gone through a number of health crises in my life. Related to things that were put into my body before I could make decisions for myself. And then things that I put into my body in order to go to Africa when I still trusted the medical establishment. And I took what was required, what was recommended. Took over-the-counter and prescription things over the years and suffered the consequence. Grew up eating foods that had synthetic herbicides and pesticides. Probably ate a number of genetically modified foods before I realized what they were. Took in a number of unhealthy inputs into my body and suffered a number of health problems over the years, damaging my immune system from an early age. Always getting tonsillitis, strep throat, number of things. Like having allergies to certain things and then having behavioral impacts. And then at a later point, having my mind fogged up, having difficulty completing tasks at different points. So a number of things that I'm not going to discuss here, but let me just tell you a little bit about how I came out of it. One thing is a lot of my health problems and issues that I had, I thought were because I was sinful and I was a bad person. And this is from a very early age, like very, very young. And perhaps in the future I'll discuss more of the details, but suffice it to say that I was making these connections from the mind of a young child. I grew up within a tradition that has a very unhealthy starting point, saying that because of Adam and Hawa alayhum salam's sin, humanity has an imprint from original sin that basically makes us sinful, impure, and even bad or evil people individually and collectively, until we have an aqidah and a belief with some special words said and an emotional transformation, until that high wears off, and then you seek another confirmation of being on the right track, And so whenever I would have some kind of a health problem or some kind of an issue, I automatically assumed it was because I was sinful and I was bad and I was wrong. And then, or then to point the fingers at other people and think that it was other people's fault. They're bad, they're sinful, they're wrong. And it's having an impact on me. These are at much earlier stages. So anyway, I'll tell you, at one point I was going through a very, very difficult time. That was devastating. And, because I've gone through several phases where I've lost, the key people in my life, at points, almost all people. And then at one point, everybody stripped out, family, friends. I've seen, the implosion of extended family and the violent divorce, disintegration of whole family units. physically and psychologically traumatizing, divorces, separations, I can't even tell you how many places I've lived and how much I've moved around in my life. I didn't realize that Allah was expanding my heart and expanding my vision. And, but at one point I remember I had some really serious, I was living in a very unhealthy manner. I was eating a lot of pizza, a lot of sandwiches. I was drinking a lot of, 1 and 2 liters of Coke and Pepsi. I was drinking a lot of Starbucks, double mochas, this type of thing, a lot of refined sugar, a lot of processed foods. I was working a lot of overtime, so many things hadn't worked out for me. And so I wound up I was working a lot of hours. I was doing a lot of commuting. It wasn't meaningful work. I could never seem to catch up. And I wound up, having just, it doesn't sound anything major, but this acid reflux situation arose. And I remember, the doctor told me, oh, this is going to be something you're probably always going to have to deal with this on some level. Here's a prescription, here's a little script, and you can get it refilled. And I remember I took it for a few days and something didn't feel right. So I'd already been exposed to Dr. Andrew Weil at an earlier age. And I don't remember how I first encountered this Harvard trained doctor and researcher. But he had he's big in the alternative medicine movement. The what do they call it? Like the it's kind of where holistic preventative medicine meets allopathic trauma-based medicine. I'm not using the correct terminology. My apologies to all my health-related field people. But anyway, I remember reading his book, Spontaneous Healing, around this time. And maybe I had first seen the book and maybe I had, paged through it a little bit, but I wound up reading through it at this point, and I threw out the prescription and I followed his advice for how to reboot the system. Basically suggested for something along, if I'm remembering correctly, something along the lines of go vegan, plant-based, for 30 days, no caffeine, no refined sugar, no dairy, just a lot of fresh, organic fruits and vegetables, smoothies. And he suggested a number of supplements to take, but he suggested DGL, which is from the licorice root, to recoat the stomach. And he was suggesting stretching and deep breathing, a holistic approach to living. And so I started following his example, and it worked. And I had been a vegetarian, but an unhealthy vegetarian for a long time. And matter of fact, at that point, I think I got to my biggest, and I bloated up significantly. I was lethargic. I didn't have energy. I was doing too many late nights, not enough sunshine. I was in a major metropolis, and so I was I was isolated from friends and family. At that point, a lot of personal things were falling apart. And I was also living with the ramifications of things that I had put into my body and into my bloodstream from, the priest class, the experts, that I had trusted. And this book, Spontaneous Healing, is actually, I highly recommend this book. It's probably one of the 5 most important books I've ever read. And a lot of my life philosophy is probably rooted in this book and these approaches. And I followed so many of so much of the advice that he threaded through this whole book about lifestyle changes and ways of thinking about things. One of the things I wanted to suggest to you that I think is quite brilliant is that he suggests that if you're going through some kind of a health issue, like a cancer, any kind of a debilitating life or death type of situation, and then even smaller conditions, always go and find healing stories. Talk to people who have healed of these various conditions. Read their stories in books, in magazines, online in particular. Go and watch YouTube videos about people who and how they came out of it. What kind of plants they used, what kind of oils they used, what kind of healing modalities they utilized. And eliminate anything that is toxic and harmful as much as possible from one's system. Now, I don't remember exactly what he was saying about various cleanses, but I do know that he mentioned a lot of, he put a lot of information from the traditional Ayurvedic Indian traditions, from the traditional Chinese medicine perspective, from, what do you call it? The homeopathic tradition, which I had never tried homeopathies before that. At a later point, I used homeopathy for something, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like, it really like, now I'm like, I would definitely try homeopathic remedies for something in the future because I had benefit from it at a later point. We should always, anything that we're doing to heal, we should minimize harm to our bodies and our minds. Anything that harms our bodies automatically harms our minds. It harms our intellectual cognitive processing and our intuitive apparatus. So we want to have the healthiest bodily function and the healthiest mental function. So after having read this book and then seeing the benefit of holistic changes, things actually like slightly improved, and then they got really bad. And I lost even more. And subhanAllah, it was all part of the path. Allah was transforming me. And sometimes he will strip his servants of everything. And I didn't know what I was getting myself into at an earlier stage when I really committed to taking the prophetic path at a much earlier age. In a very serious way about it at the 12-13 period. And I was stripped, I went through many intense things. But at this later point, after Dr. Weil's book, I eventually, I remember post 9/11, so maybe around, I want to say 2000, end of 2005, 2006, 2007, things are really bad in my life and really unpleasant. Not that there weren't beautiful moments and beautiful experiences, alhamdulillah, but it was very challenging in so many ways. And, a person can only deal with so much loss before it really, it takes a toll on a person's heart. And so by the end of 2007, I really started, I'd been studying, during this period, I started realizing the evil in the world. You know what I mean? I became much more aware of what was going on in the occultic realms and the dark doings they were engaged in, the devilries, and its impact on the world. And thing is, if you're studying dark things, if you're studying conspiracy theories and whatnot, I would highly recommend, based on my own personal experience, always avoid learning the hard lessons for yourselves. Learn from others' experience. This is a level of wisdom where you can actually take benefit from somebody else's struggles. And and never go down the pity path. Pity is it's a dirty, dark side pseudo expression of compassion. And that's not of the prophets, peace be upon them. So around 2000, end of 2007, I started exploring holistic living. And for about 4.5 years, I committed to very strict ethical vegetarianism and holistic living and basically a lot of cleansing and detoxing of the body, the bodily systems. I went really deep into prayer and fasting. So I was basically doing an herbivore plant-based diet for purification and health purposes. I was doing a lot of different I started studying all these varieties of cleanses, how to cleanse the gut, how to cleanse the liver, how to cleanse the blood, how to cleanse the bladder and the kidneys, how to, strengthen the adrenal glands and the hormonal systems, how to strengthen the blood and the bloodstream, how to begin to purify the body and the mind. And I started, the deeper I went into prayer and fasting, Allah brought me into really deep contemplation and taught me all these contemplative techniques. So I started studying, contemplation of the body and for years, Allah was teaching me how to read the outer signs and how to read text. And then he started teaching me how to read the outer signs. And then he started teaching me how to read the inner signs. And the more that I studied the inner signs and went through the purification and the refinement thereof, the more I was able to read the outer more accurately and the inner realms, like the imaginal realms, the dream realms. When I say the inner signs, I'm talking being able to read, the breath, to observe the breath, to observe the body sensations, to observe the blood flow at the pulse points, which is related to oxygenation and the removal of wastes and the movement of energy flow, energy flowing through the body. That's also, there are many different ways of understanding these things. I don't want to get all caught up in that, but what I wanted to say was that, step by step through each health crisis I had, through each emotional crisis that I went through, any problem that I faced that was catastrophic and devastating, Allah was giving me better and better solutions because I was sincerely seeking solutions. And that's the thing. I said in a poem not long ago that I never gave up on truth, but more importantly, truth never gave up on me. And this is part of this beautiful path. And I've been through so many challenges, and this is why, it's like we shouldn't judge ourselves. We shouldn't judge ourselves and judge others inaccurately. We need to assess, we need to read, assess, discern, and judge wisely, righteously, justly. However, most of us are not anywhere near capable of this without having gone through complete transformation. And usually to be transformed means to be devastated completely. So along this path, it's like we have to learn how to collect the most data. So we collect as much data about whatever problem we're addressing. And we then sift the data and put things into categories and seek to see the patterns. We use comparison and, we analyze using comparison and contrast, studying the sequences of events. We study causes and effects. We learn to explain and describe. We're seeking to synthesize the information and find its applicability, its practicality, to find its meaning, to find its benefit. And we begin to apply what's beneficial. And as we apply what's beneficial, we observe the results of that and the process and the results. And insights arise. And then we come into, the application of the proper application of knowledge is wisdom. And then understanding and insight comes from observing the process and the results. And then at some point, you have an obligation. Once you have seen the benefit of something and been transformed, you have an obligation to share, because Islam is a path of sadaqah. So it's incumbent upon us to share with others to the best of our abilities. And this is dawah in the truest sense. And calling people to truth, giving people practical benefit, helping people to be less dependent on people and people, places, and things, and to come out of unhealthy attachments and false views and come into and out of false unhealthy practices and into an excellent, beautiful way of living. So what I would say is if you are struggling with any issue in life, seek out healing stories. Seek out stories of transformation, spiritual transformation, physical transformation. Go through, and if you're having difficulties, learn how to cleanse your body. If I were dealing with any kind of a health crisis, which I've had my share, I would automatically, one of the very first things I'm going to do is first try to deal with the ongoing trauma and cut it off at the pass as best as possible, and to prevent the trauma from turning into something bigger and worse. First thing, we gotta drop excess weight. We got to be more disciplined with the way that we eat. We need to have healthy exercise and stretching, deep breathing. These are highly beneficial. Fasting, intermittent fasting, prophetic fasting, but in a disciplined way where we're more particular with what we choose to put into our bodies and the timing thereof. Fasting from things that we might desire to put on our body, into our body. Behaviors we might desire, like if you're struggling with an addictive behavior, go through this total holistic approach, a total cleanse, a total detox, holistic cleansing. Like we want to, if you've got an area of the body that needs healing, then it's very important that your body can to attain optimal health, and it needs optimal efficiency to be effective. So it has to be energy efficient. So if you've got all kinds of, if you keep on taking unhealthy things into your skin and into your mouth, then what happens is your energy for healing is overly dispersed. And you need to be able to let go of clutter and garbage so that your body, which your immune system is brilliantly designed, subhanAllah. So then as you get rid of the garbage, then you can actually the healing energy starts to be directed to the problem at hand. And so get rid of the excess weight, like lots of hydration, lemon water, apple cider vinegars is what I would do. I would definitely engage in stretching, lots of walking, try to walk in the hills, walk on sandy beaches barefoot, ground yourself, a lot of barefoot, bare soil, salah and sajda on bare soil. We want to, it's like for grounding purposes. We want to cleanse our gut. First and foremost, cleansing the gut is essential. There are many ways of doing this, and to cleanse the liver. And then there are other cleanses to do along with this, but I would say by doing those two first, along with getting rid of the excess weight, you're also lots of green foods, which then you're nutrifying your blood, you're purifying and cleansing your cardiovascular system. By doing all the walking and the stretching and the deep breathing, you're oxygenating your blood and your body and your cellular structure. This is beautiful, subhanAllah. Various supplements, like the best supplements would be, nutrient dense foods, lots of like whole foods, as organic and pure, ethical and garden-like as possible. I like to eat a lot of, I like dark leafy greens, and lentils are a really good way to go. Eat as many colors. I believe this is from Dr. Weil as well. Eat as many colors every day as possible of fruits and vegetables. Nutrient-dense smoothies. Certain herbs are powerhouse. Like, so for instance, lots of ginger. Ginger in your cooking, ginger in your salads, ginger in your smoothies, ginger in your teas and your drinks. Highly beneficial. If you are not in the a strict ethical vegetarian phase, which an herbivore phase is very, very beneficial for cleansing and detoxing for 30 days. And oftentimes when you read various healing methodologies, I would rather than go with a 30-day phase, because they'll often suggest 30 days to break a habit and establish a healthy one. And I think that's beneficial, but I'm going to go prophetic path and say 40 days for myself. And so I would do 40-day periods, increments to do focus on various aspects like cleansing, like you might do shorter periods for a gut cleanse of 15 to 30 days. Or maybe you're kind of combining the gut and the liver over a 40-day phase, nutrifying. So lots of ginger, lots of turmeric, lots of garlic. Although some of this tradition say, like some of the yogic traditions and so Buddhist monastics, a lot of the yogis from the Vaishnavite tradition and the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, and then the ascetics from the Christian monastic tradition, they often will avoid garlic and onion because they say that stimulates sensual behaviors and sensuality and sexuality and increases those energies. Plus, it's like, sometimes it can give off an odor for others that is unpleasant. But, I feel like within a balance, I found the garlic, plus I'm I've got a lot of Italian inputs in my lineage. And so it's like, I like some garlic, Mediterranean. So I enjoy garlic. It's medicinal. And I would say go with medicinal foods. Lots of, I love, blueberries, lots of organic berries if you can. Sweet potatoes, can be benefit. Lots of colors. You want to have a very colorful diet. Get rid of pesticides and herbicides and fungicides, especially the synthetic ones. And if anything has an organic one put on it, say from, some tobacco juice or something or whatever it might be, make sure that it's washed thoroughly and, wash the waxes off of things. There are all kinds of devil tech garbage inputs put into our food supply now. So we want to make sure that we're eating as purely and garden-like as possible. Let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. Engage in minimize harm, eliminate harm to your body and to your mind in your thoughts, your words, your actions, including the inputs, what you put on your skin, into your mouth, into your various sense doors, any place. The whole body is absorptive. The whole mind is absorptive. So let's be careful to only absorb that which is healthy, ethically sourced and pure to the greatest of our ability, as organic and garden-like as possible. And then as we take these things in to protect, don't take any of the unhealthy, unethical, impure, unnatural, synthetic inputs in anymore. Block them out. Put up a fence against them. So don't take in the dirty stuff anymore. Start putting in what's beneficial, and whatever is dirty within you, then begin cleansing out systematically and nutrifying, strengthening, and building back. Because the body is highly regenerative, and very it's very miraculous and amazing. This is super. You are a high-tech being. Your body and your mind are not separate from one another. Anything that negatively impacts the body negatively impacts the mind. It negatively impacts our ability to think critically and to intuit. We especially, the intuitive centers, the whole body is intuitive, but there are three main centers that people say. So here in the head region, it's related to the pituitary and the pineal gland. Also within the heart center and within the gut, the diaphragmic region, within the intestines, the stomach lining. It's at all these regions, there's intuitive apparatus. And so we want to make sure that our guts are clean. We want to make sure that our blood is flowing well and is energetically efficient so that we can come into optimal health. And lots of sajda. Sajda is so beneficial because it involves spinal alignment and it involves oxygenated, rich blood going up into the brain region and into all the hormonal and energetic centers along the spinal cord and up into the head region. This is, from the genitalia region all the way up to the top of the head. This is, and it's also oxygenating the limbs, the palms, the feet, the soles. This is all beautiful and excellent. We need to come into optimal health individually and collectively. We need to purify ourselves. So, I would suggest that if, that you really do your research and go deep into this. Dr. Weil is Spontaneous Healing is a brilliant book. It's very lightweight. You can get a cheap used copy of it. There's another compendium. I believe it's called the Guide to Alternative Health or something like that. It's a silver book and it's got red lettering, and it is a brilliant encyclopedic compendium of all these various healing modalities and methodologies, energetic medicine, yogic traditions, Chinese medicine. It has all these beautiful, excellent things within it. that I would highly recommend that book. If I can remember the exact name, I will do my best to put that name within the description underneath. And if you could share in the comments, share your healing stories, share your well wishes for others. That's another thing. Make a lot of dua for yourself, for your healing, for the specific body systems you're addressing. May my heart be strengthened. May my blood be purified. Allah, please show me how to, what I need to focus on. What resources I need in order to attain optimal health, to heal the body, to heal the mind, to be regenerated, to be made whole, and then to be of benefit to others, to help them to come out of, to engage in preventative and preventative expressions to protect themselves from going down this route. Say, for instance, somebody who's had, cardiac issues or strokes or viral outbreaks or any kind of, things within, neurological disorders, episodes with various, imbalances within mental health. We can work on all these things. We can come out of, we can do all things through Allah. Allah is the healer. He is the whole maker. He is the purifier. He is the guide. So go to Allah. Spend a lot of time in sajda. Pray for guidance. Pray to be introduced to people and to lectures and everything. Seek widely, vastly, deeply, pervasively. Search within your immediate networks, within your family, your friends. Ask them if anybody's dealt with any of these related issues, and how they came out of it, how they healed, what they did to address it. Always get multiple opinions as well. That, I can't tell you how many times I or other people have encountered certain things with people within the medical field, the health-related fields, where they will say, this is a permanent condition, or this, you just need this pill, and it's all good. It's not. It never was. It never will be. You get multiple opinions and from various fields in order to get as close to the truth of the matter as possible, and always do whatever you can, because you can always do something. Take responsibility for your health and your healing process. And oftentimes you will find that there's something emotional under the surface that you have not looked at carefully, that you have not addressed and worked through. And it is very important in these days, we have this opportunity to work through these issues before things really heat up and get crazy. But we can come out of this. So, I'm praying for you. May you come out of your misery. May you come out of your imbalances. May you come out of your suffering. May you be healed and made whole. May you be beautified and live in an excellent, beautiful, wondrous manner. May you be full of presence and mindfulness and appreciation. May you say subhanallah and be transformed by it. You are well loved and much appreciated. Until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.